coding boot camp was the first part of the plan and getting something made there. And now the next was to actually get to Bangkok, find a place to live, and set up a base of operations. And that has led to some really cool experiences so far. We've been here now for about coming up on a month, and when we first arrived, our time was given over to searching for a place. Luckily, I had a contact previous to coming to Thailand, and they were able to put me in touch with a real estate agent here who was incredibly helpful. And you hear that the Thai people are so kind. You hear it's the land of smiles and all that stuff, but she was truly helpful, and the people we've met so far even are really amazing people. That'll lead me into all sorts of other tangents about how cool this month has been, and observations about getting set up and where the business will go, and so on. Challenges too, because solving the challenges are fun, of course, if you can stay calm. I was joking recently that that's really the work. It's that the work is fun, it's the staying calm when things are challenging. You know, it's like the work will be fine, but there'll be challenging moments, and that's really what you're navigating through. But here we are. So we landed on the 14th. That's when we got over. Our visas were all set up. It was a great experience at the airport because we had done the S-Class Smart Visa that allows you to do a startup in Thailand if you presented them with a viable business plan. And one of the things on that is that when you arrive, you were able to bypass the initial lineups that people have for getting through the customs. And you just go to this line where there is no line. They're like, you just go straight through, you speak to one person, and you pass through within less than 5 minutes, which that's not usually been my experience at the airport. So I really enjoyed that part of it so far. That was cool. So the work visas, there's been bumps along the way in the sense that because they're so new, a lot of places didn't know how to process them. But overcoming that, it's kind of a pioneering feeling, and it's been good. Like, the Thai government does obviously support this and has provided good support for it since we've been going through. But we arrived, we had a hotel booked for about 7 days, and it was in that time where we were going to meet with the travel agent, and they were going to show us all around and look at different places according to our preferences. Now, that had been hard leading into this because you can only tell someone what you know based on, I now have 2 countries I've lived in. I lived in Japan and I lived in Canada, so I can say, okay, I want these things, and I know the climate's like this. But you don't know the city or anything. We're trying to do research beforehand to say, okay, we think this would be better, and advice from people, Thai people as well. But you don't know until you're here. And so once we got a sense, when we were here, of one of the most important, this is kind of like a funny, definite, like figuring things out as you go moment, was that where I booked the hotel, it appears on Google Maps to be very close to a transit line. And there's 2 of them that run from the center of the city. And I thought, okay, we'll be here, and that'll make it easy access for whatever sort of exploring it is that we do. And it turns out that you can only access that transit line from specific other points nowhere near there. So we had to use the line that was south of us, and took about almost 30 minutes to walk to each time. So I was like, oh, that was a rough lesson to get immediately. Stupid, but not always surprising. Those kind of things are going to happen. But we got here, we started to go and look at places. We got a sense of, okay, we want to live next to the BTS, that being the main SkyTrain line. If we can get access to that, it'll be very good. We started to get, okay, it's a sense you can find these condominiums. These condominiums have very good deals and have many amenities associated with them, so they could be practical. And once I realized that, and I realized where we're trying to be positioned, I went on this hunt. I thought it was a lot of fun to almost work adjacent with the real estate agent, that I went online and went onto all the property sites and was looking up all the potential places that we could go, At first I'd been looking for 2 bedrooms, and I was like, we'll just like have this team base of operations, but then we decided that it would be way better, let's just do like separate places, and that made things even more affordable, which was interesting. And after much searching and a few all-nighters, or I was like, this is just fun and it's for your house, it's where you're going to be next, I spent all night and found some good stuff that I could suggest to the real estate agent, and they got us rooms to look at in the ones that I prioritized, so that was great. You know, you're trying to see as many as possible while at the same time be time efficient, basically. So we got in, we looked. I'm going to abridge the searching because there was so much of it, but it actually went long. We ended up having to get 2 extra days at the hotel that we were staying at, which allowed us to see, you know, the last couple that we wanted to compare before we made a choice about where we would live. And I'm so glad we did, because it really was the last one of the ones that we saw where it was a clear winner. It was new building, 2018, great neighborhood, about a 7-minute walk away from the BTS station, which is fantastic. The building, the one I was hoping to get into, and there was 2 in the complex. There's this building and that building. This one has a co-working space in it as well with a Wi-Fi, and we are in the business of business right now, so we're working every single day, often together, and that kind of communication in that sort of space is very useful. The neighborhood is crazy beyond, you know, convenience even to the line, but like just in terms of the level of food that surrounds you here, and that's this whole other tangent that I could go on, is amazing. And we got a gym nearby, there was a rooftop pool. You see a lot of pools and stuff like that, but this one is nice. Coming from Japan, a big obsession for me, it really became, and everything I've read about it confirmed my desire to believe in it being cool. I love the sauna and that culture in Japan, and the sentos and the onsens, and you weren't going to find so much of that here in Bangkok, I realized. And this building that I found just so happened to have a sauna as well. So I was like, okay, this gives us everything. I'm so happy about this. So the base of operations is great. It was again, just comparing cultures, this is a big theme. When we were setting up for our internet, I said it's important. This is something that we need, and we need it to be quick and fast for all this sort of stuff that we're going to do. And they said, oh yeah, but it takes a few days to get installed. And I was thinking, oh no, it's going to be the Japan thing all over again, and you're likely going to have to wait several months before they'll install the internet. Not the case. Their few days really was a few days, and they said, yeah, it's going to take like at least 2 or 3 before someone can show up. And I was like, oh my God. That's amazing. So that was great as well, to get access almost immediately to that, to be up and running. Now, since we settled in, we've had these couple of weeks to actually start working on the project again, and they've been fruitful. We've got a lot of things to report on in terms of what we've been able to now upgrade Radiant with. I'll give you the 2 big ones. These are the heavy hitters that we've done. You can now, when you create a campaign, have a piece of campaign art that is made for you when you create any campaign that is also AI generated based on the prompts that you fed it for that campaign, based around the weather and the biome and the mood and so on. And now you get an AI generated piece of art. So we're bringing in these kind of like, it almost to me feels like obvious enhancements, the way that they so complement each other. And perhaps biggest of all, and I can do a whole video dedicated to this, but GPT-4, we've upgraded the model. Whereas prior we were using 3.5. I'm going to go into detail about this on the blog, so if you have an interest in just like how very specifically more advanced the whole site is, it will be available there for you to check out, and I'll be sure to put the link to the blog in this video. So those would be the 2 big upgrades that we've been working on since we arrived, and they are now functional. We continue to refine things like the prompt. For example, when you choose a mood and that's going to assist you with the story that you're telling, making sure that the AI maintains variety when they're creating narration for you, because there'd be nothing more frustrating than repetition where now you can see sentences repeating too often or like a word that gets used too much. So we are aware of these things, and we hope that people continue to sign up and enjoy using it and tell us what they like about it and tell us what they don't like about it and tell us what they would like included with it. This has been fun. There'll be, I'm going to try and make it, I don't know, weekly updates or even more than that, but plenty to come, creating a sort of catalog of how this mission goes, because for me too, it's going to be fascinating to look back on in, you know, whatever years follow, to be like, okay, it's cool not only that you try and do a business, but a part of that was trying to connect with people about it, but then that means that you documented it, which is cool. I think could be a good resource for people. I think about it now. I'm like, if you were studying a business and somebody was like, here, I'm trying to do it, maybe you can learn from my mistakes later, or successes, perhaps both. That's probably the most likely. All right, I'm letting it run too long. Thanks for watching the video. I can't wait to bring more details, more updates. I didn't touch on the banking. I didn't touch on the food. I didn't touch on the transit. Like, each of these things I need to make a note of, because Thailand is an amazing culture and totally different from anything else that I've ever experienced before. Speak soon.